Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are going to unpack a brilliant, totally counterintuitive, and science-backed strategy from Dr. William. We're focusing on how to literally reverse insulin resistance right down at the cellular level. But here is the absolute best part. We're going to do it by eating more of the right foods, not by aggressively restricting what you love.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with adding instead of subtracting. Explore the root of high sugar. Discuss 3 ways foods fix cells. Reveal the 10 superfoods. Look at real results with Donna's story. And finally, give you your 5-step action plan.
All right, let's dive right into part 1, adding instead of subtracting.
So we really need to start with a massive mindset shift regarding carbohydrates and the standard medical advice you've probably heard for years. It is time to rethink everything you've been told about having to starve yourself to get healthy. The psychological relief here is just huge, right? You aren't taking away what you love, you're simply adding biological shields. When you add the right foods to your daily routine, you actually optimize your biochemistry. You bring those sugars down quickly and sustainably, all while keeping the carbs you actually enjoy on your plate.
Moving on to part 2, the root of high sugar. To really understand why this adding food approach works so powerfully, we've got to look at the systemic root cause of high blood sugar. And honestly, this is something that almost always gets skipped over in those incredibly short 12-minute doctor visits. Think of insulin as a key, knocking on the door of your cells, just trying to let glucose inside where it belongs as fuel. But after years of the blood sugar roller coaster, that lock is jammed. Your cells essentially go deaf. They stay shut. So your pancreas panics and pumps out more and more insulin, but your blood sugar just keeps climbing anyway because those doors simply won't open.
Which brings us to part 3, 3 ways foods fix cells.
Standard medicine often just pushes more insulin into a drowning system, hoping to brute force those doors open. But specific foods can actually fix that cellular deafness right at its source. Every single food we're about to discuss performs one of 3 targeted biochemical jobs. They either act physically to slow the sugar from flooding your blood, they cool down the chronic inflammation that makes your cells deaf in the first place, or they actively wake the insulin receptor back up. It's really just about letting your own body do the work it was brilliantly designed to do.
All right, part 4, the 10 superfoods revealed.
It is time to reveal the 10 specific powerhouse foods that execute these 3 critical functions. Now don't worry, you don't have to eat all 10 tomorrow, but stacking them over time is where the magic really happens. We've got foods like chia seeds and fenugreek that literally form a thick gel break in your stomach to slow sugar absorption down to a crawl. Then we have walnuts and the omega-3s in fatty fish, cooling the dangerous inflammation that's jamming your cellular signals. And finally, superstars like apple cider vinegar and cinnamon are actively waking your insulin receptors up so they finally start answering the door again.
Let's actually look a little closer at one of those superstars, cinnamon. When you buy it, you've got to be careful to ensure you're safely helping your insulin receptors grip glucose tighter. The common cassia cinnamon you usually see at the grocery store, it contains a compound that's pretty hard on your liver in large daily doses. You'll want to swap that out for Ceylon or true cinnamon. It's much milder, totally safe for daily use, and its natural plant compounds behave almost exactly like insulin to pull your numbers down. Next up, broccoli sprouts. These are the ultimate underused secret weapon here, acting uniquely to shut down the liver's overactive sugar production. Actually, scratch that. Make sure you don't confuse these with full-grown broccoli. These little 3-day-old sprouts pack 50 to 100 times more of an incredible compound called sulforaphane. Just throwing a handful on a sandwich goes straight to work on your liver to quiet down the sugar it produces while you're fast asleep.
Another phenomenal concept to grasp here is what's called the second meal effect. By eating pure protein and healthy fats, like, say, a breakfast of whole eggs or the resistant starch in lentils for lunch, your mid-morning or afternoon cravings just quietly disappear. You create this gentle, flat blood sugar line that physically protects you and keeps your numbers steady all the way into your next meal. You're literally carrying the benefits forward.
Let's look at part 5, real results with Donna's story. Let's step away from the abstract science for a second and look at how this biochemistry plays out in the real world. Meet a 63-year-old patient named Donna. Donna came into the clinic completely terrified, facing a fasting sugar of 180. Her doctor had just told her it was time to add a second medication. She was carrying the very real, very heavy fear of losing her toes and her eyesight to this disease, exactly like she had watched her own mother do.
But by simply adding these specific foods to her diet, avocado, vinegar,
walnuts, fatty fish. Without starving herself, she made a triumphant, lasting return to health. Within just one single week, her fasting numbers dropped. At 3 months, working closely with her doctor, she was completely off that second medication and tracking right back toward a normal A1C. And 2 years later, she is perfectly stable. Her body took over the work.
Now this comes with a fascinating medical caveat, which is honestly an empowering testament to how well these foods work at handing insulin its job back. These natural superfoods are so wildly effective that if you are currently on blood sugar medications, your blood sugar might drop fast enough to actually cause a low. You absolutely must add these foods with your doctor watching so they can safely walk your medication doses down as your body heals.
Finally, part 6, your 5-step action plan.
Okay, you have the science and you've seen the undeniable results. Now let's take all of this and build your immediate actionable routine. Follow these 5 exact steps starting tonight to naturally put the brakes on your blood sugar without cutting the carbs you love. Number 1, ditch the cereal for whole eggs and half an avocado. 2, soak a teaspoon of fenugreek seeds in water tonight to drink tomorrow. 3, stir a 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon into your coffee. 4, drink a tablespoon of diluted apple cider vinegar about 15 minutes before your biggest carb-heavy meal. And 5, swap white rice or potatoes for lentils just a couple of times this week. It is really that straightforward.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a really fascinating question to ponder. If you're doing everything right during the day, why might you still wake up with a high fasting number? And what exactly is happening inside your liver overnight? Why is your liver acting like a rogue glucose factory while you are fast asleep? And exactly how do we apply what we just learned to completely shut it down? It's a complex piece of the puzzle, and for sure one that's worth exploring further. So keep learning, keep adding the right things, and take control of your health.